Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, or whenever you're watching this recording or this episode for that matter. Today, I've got a brilliant expert to talk about trademarks. I have not covered this in all these 6 seasons. When I met Celeste on LinkedIn, I said, I want you. This was about a year or so ago. I wanted to get her on the show, and today was the day that I got her on the show. So she was really a gem. I would have got her on last week, but I messed up completely. So that's all happens, isn't it? So let me talk about Celeste or read her bio and then get more details from her. Trademarks is one of the things which I passionately um, enjoy working with because many of you may know or may not. Let me tell you a little bit of story. I was a software developer, and I created a product, and alongside with a couple of friends, I got cheated in the process. I don't like to use that word. It's because it's not very positive word, and I don't like it. However, I felt some. I went to a solicitor, and it costed me quite a lot of money even to just get the consultation on that, how I should have taken care of all of this beforehand and all. That happens in software industry quite a lot, and I think it happens everywhere, even music, video, it doesn't matter. So that's why I have got a little bit of affinity towards this, and I feel everyone should use this trademark and know about at least before they venture out in partnership, or even if you're a solopreneur, you do need this. You will hear that from Celeste today. Let me read out what her bio says, and then we'll talk to her. Celeste, aka the Empress of Trademarks, founder of GRAND IPR, creator of a unique branded blueprint academy, and an author. When looking at establishing her career, professional credibility for your brand, how often have you been shown ways to protect it? So she is the one, she took upon that activity, and she says, okay, I'm going to help you. A registered trademark makes you much more irresistible and more credible, as well, as she pointed out before. Celeste RR has realized that many talented businesses and their founders struggle to understand the registration process, requirements involved, and reason to register a trademark. For over 9 years, Celeste RR has shared her information online and in person, winning multiple awards for the same. So let's go and speak to her. And I also wanted you, if you've got any questions or anything, you can ask. Put it in the comment below. Celeste can answer it as well as we go. It might not be. This is recorded, so when it goes live, we will be there, and we will get your answers. If not immediately, you will get the answers. Okay. So if you have not subscribed to my channel or followed my channel, please do so. So it is easier. I bring in experts like Celeste and others, to mostly women entrepreneurs, helping other women entrepreneurs in the process. So I wanted to highlight women entrepreneurs. Maybe selfish, I am one. So let's bring Celeste on the screen and ask her about how she helps us. Hey Celeste, how are you?
Hi, Sudha. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem at all. No problem. At last, we are here. We are here. Celeste,
Yeah.
what do we have to know um, about you, which we have not already read on in the bio? I think that bio doesn't do the justice.
It doesn't do me justice, right? So, for instance, I was born in Denmark. I am 1/4 Swedish on my father's side, and on my mother's side, there's French and Spanish ancestry, hence the French name Celeste.
Oh, I love your
And
name.
actually,
I love your name.
Celeste was given to me before I was born.
Okay.
My
How is
name.
that?
But well, because my mother knew, even, you know, back then she didn't have any tests or anything, but she knew that I was a girl, and she
Okay.
was reading a children's book, French children's book for my older brother in Danish. Yeah, so it's about an elephant called Babar, and his wife is called Celeste, and they live in Celesteville.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's a great story. So tell us, how did he end up? You're from Denmark, and how did he end up here in the UK?
So in my 20s, I had lived in London, and I had worked as what we refer to in French as an au pair, which is like a mother's help or a nanny or whatever you want to call it. And I can only describe it as my soul was pulling me here.
Okay. But I heard you're also a show jumper.
I'm
Equestrian.
what? Yes, correct.
You had a horse and you trained him.
Her. Yeah, she's
Her.
I don't
Okay.
know. Can you see her? She's right. She's there behind me. Yes, that's
No,
correct.
I
I trained her from scratch, and she was in my care for 17 and a half years. And I was planning to bring her with me over here. However, she was at the end of her life. And so to make absolutely certain that I wasn't making the wrong decision about ending her life, I asked her to show me with absolute 200% certainty that ending her life was the right thing. And it's a really big decision, and it's a really hard one.
Yes.
So because she was a show jumper, she refused flatly to walk across a pole lying on the ground. Her reins were completely loose. I wasn't sat on her. Somebody else was sat on her, and the reins were loose on her neck. She just walked away, and she was somebody who would always pull toward fences and stuff like that. So that was a clear sign for me.
Oh, that's beautiful story. That's beautiful story. When I heard that story, I was like, oh my God, I love horses. But they are a really unique spiritual being. They
Yes.
are, all animals are for that matter, but horses have got that separate affinity. Horses and dogs, for that matter, have got that
cats for me.
ability. Cats as well, but for me, I feel these two animals are, and everyone have said many things about many other beings as well. But anyway, let's cross over to the business. How did you end up being Empress of Trademarks? What got you there?
That's a funny story, actually. People were referring to me as the Queen of Trademarks. That was how they saw me. And then I did a search because I wanted to see if that was a term that I could actually use for myself, you know, because Queen is generic. And so I actually came across somebody who had registered Queen of Trademarks in America. And so I decided, okay, can't really use that. What can I do then? And so I alighted on Empress. And then, as it turns out, in my Swedish sort of pool of ancestry, there was actually a couple who were based in Vienna at the court of the emperor and the empress. And she was so well liked by the Empress that she was invited to a ball. Going to the ball, she was wearing a beautiful gown, and she came across the Empress in the halls leading to the ball, and she said, look, I have this beautiful gown and I have no jewelry. So the Empress took some jewelry and gave it to her on the spot. And I didn't know that when I picked Empress.
Oh, okay. That's really very interesting. So how did you, when we were speaking before the show, you mentioned I was like, intellectual property was let's talk about intellectual property, and you said you specialize in trademarks. How does these two relate? And I've got another question. So let me first ask, how does these two relate? What is your background? How did you end up as a trademark? Like, do you need any degree or do you need to go to a college? How does this work?
So at 35, I started studying the law in Copenhagen.
Okay.
And I have a master's degree in law from University of Copenhagen. And I specialized in intellectual property. Intellectual property is like the umbrella, and then underneath it. So that was sort of my pull. The direction I wanted to go in was intellectual property. So intellectual property is like the umbrella, and underneath it you have different types of intellectual property. You've got copyrights, trademarks, trade dress, trade secrets, design, patents. So there are many different aspects under the umbrella of intellectual property. And I then specialized even further into both copyrights and trademarks, but trademarks is what I really, really care about.
So what is the difference between a copyright and trademark?
Oh, massive difference. So I've written a book, and whenever you write something and you either keep it in your own drawer or you sell it, doesn't matter what you do with the written content. What is important for it to be protected by copyright is that it has to have your thumbprint on it, so that it has to be uniquely you. If you copy and paste content from somebody else, that is plagiarism, and this is really, really serious, and it's a criminal offense. Pardon me. And it is really, really difficult to cleanse yourself of an accusation of plagiarism. So do not do that. Whoever you are, don't do it, because it is really, really detrimental to you and to your business. So trademarks, this is my trademark, and it's a figurative mark. The writing on it is my handwriting. And a trademark is what businesses use to distinguish them from each other. Imagine that the marketplace was completely awash with different types of businesses, but nobody was using any distinguishing mark. You would be completely confused, and you wouldn't know where to go to get your, you might have gone out and bought something and you wouldn't know where to go and find it again, because it would be completely inundated with different kinds of things. All of us have things that we prefer, you know, be it phones, be it cars, be it clothing, be it shoes. It doesn't have to be designer label. Even H&M, you know, the Swedish clothing brand, that's a registered trademark. And even, you know, some of the less expensive items that we can buy, they will often have realized that what they've got has inherent value, and they're wanting to protect that. Even food products are protected by trademarks, and beverages as well. You know, the very first trademark that was registered was the red triangle, it's still in use today. That was the very first trademark that was registered.
Oh, that's very interesting. So in that case, when you said your logo is a trademark in itself, what is the difference? Like every business, the very first thing they do is when they speak to a brand consultant, they get their logo done, they get their colors, they get their fonts worked out. How do they? How can sometimes the fonts could be from the general Google fonts, but sometimes some businesses they get designers to do fonts for them. So how can they go about and register those fonts? Because anything which picked up from the Google cannot be their font. It cannot be registered. It's irregistrable.
So they cannot claim, if it's in public domain, they cannot claim any rights to it. If they're using a specialized font, they will have to buy a license for it.
Yep.
And not every logo can or should be registered as a trademark. Because if that was the case, if anything... I'm sorry?
Repeat that again.
So not everything can or should be registered as a trademark, because if that was the case, you and I wouldn't be able to have a normal conversation, which would be a pain in the behind.
Okay, so how can one determine that their logo can be registered as the trademark? How, like similar to Adidas or Google themselves or any other brand out there, Reebok or anything? How can they differentiate themselves from other logos or colors?
I understand your question, and I understand your question, and the important thing is to know that whatever it is that they create has to live up to certain criteria for it to become registrable. The other day on LinkedIn, I saw a graphic designer who had created a logo for somebody. My personal point of view was that it was a pretty logo. My professional one was completely different.
What was the difference?
So the difference is, can it become registered as a trademark or not? That, I may look at a logo and say, oh, that's a pretty logo. It doesn't mean that I can register it as a trademark necessarily. There are certain things that, it cannot be generic. It cannot represent what it is that you do. This does not represent what it is that I do at all.
Okay. What's that mean?
It sends a signal, because it's the signal that there's protection, because it's a coat of arms.
Okay, so I get that immediately when I see that it is coat of arms. How does that differ from the generalized shield to what you've got there? So to me, it looks like a shield.
It is a shield.
Okay, so does that mean that you've got GRAND IPR up there, and with the arrows pointing both ways? So does that mean is that specializes, or is that the one which differentiates from the shield, the normal generalized shield?
So it's no longer a generalized shield, because it's been created to my specific instructions. And And as you say, there are elements, so it's no longer generic.
Okay.
Because I've given instructions as to how I want it to look and the specific colors that it has. I don't own these colors at all.
Okay.
If somebody wanted to, you know, there are so many different types of trademarks out there. You can register a word mark, a figurative mark. This is a figurative mark. Color marks, they come in two variations. There's single color and then there's color combination. Then there's precision marks. So there are so many different things to do, and there are so many things, which is why you come to somebody like me rather than try to do it yourself, because you may think, oh, but I can do this myself, and then you whiz through the process, and then at the end of it, they say, sorry, we can't register it, and you're like, but why? That's because you do not have my knowledge and you do not have my understanding of what is required. So there are people who specialize in different things. You specialize in your thing, I specialize in my thing. And this is why we go to the specialist. You know, if you want to have a heart transplant, you do not go down to the local butcher to get it done, do you?
Yeah. This is one thing which I say in my profession as well. People say, just because they are techie savvy and can get around a software doesn't mean that they can create the software. So they don't understand.
I wouldn't know how to create software.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's what. Oh, I got my website done by that person. Yeah, they can work it out, and I've got a deeper understanding. So, for example, if I help other business owners create a signature program for themselves from the expertise they've got. They may be a business analyst. How I help two different business analysts are is that I look at the process. The process may be different little bit here and there. So I help both of these business analysts to come up with the signature system. It is not contradicting each other's. However, there is a difference in delivery of a person, business analyst A and a business analyst B, or business consultant A and B. So how can they go away and register their signature system?
It may not be the system itself.
Do you get what my question is?
Yes, I do. And it may not be the system itself that they register as a trademark, because what you normally do is you find something to represent your business. Like this, let me show you a trademark that most people are familiar with. Just a sec. Whenever people see this, there is no doubt what this company is.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no doubt in people's mind. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this company has evolved since it started. When it started, it was only computers. Now this company delivers many other different types of products to their adoring fans, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you find something that is instantly recognizable and hasn't been seen in the marketplace before. And then then it's important to understand that it's important to do searches to see whether or not this can actually be used, or if somebody else has registered whatever they're wanting to use as their trademark.
So even to so on that note, we've got to go and search for it. If we are going to search for that, is there any database, or do we need to come and speak to you, or how can we do it? Because at this point we don't have a product, we don't have something or any name or logo, so I don't want to involve you at that process. I wanted to get it done and then come to you and say, is this trademarkable? If that is a word. So is that possible, or can we do homework before we spend time and energy in creating something?
So depending on what type of business you've got and the kind of turnover you've got, say you are a startup that's got venture capital, they may very well want to come and talk to me before they start anything, because I've got the unique branded blueprint. I know I said it was an academy. It is not an academy. It's a program. It's a 2-day program. And in this program, I help with my legal expertise to create a trademark that can become registered.
Okay.
And there are databases that you can search. Of course there are.
Okay. So I understand.
It's not enough to go and Google it, though.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So what for if they are a software person, okay, the software, there is no tangible product in it. If it's a digital product like iPhone or a computer or for a camera, there is a tangibility to it. There is no tangible product for music or online course or anything. So how can they?
I don't agree with that.
Excuse me?
Agree with that, because
Why?
music is protected by copyright legislation.
Okay.
And if you've got a trademark as the music producer or the music composer, if you've got a trademark, then your output is stronger, has a stronger protection. All the intellectual property goes hand in hand to form a strong shield of protection for you. None of the intellectual property fight each other. That's really important to understand. So you may have some, I mean, I've written this book, and on every single page, I've got my trademark.
Okay.
Because I am who I am, and I know and understand the legislation. So, of course, I put my trademark on every single page of my book. And as a musician, you can have a trademark. I mean, look at ABBA. ABBA has registered their trademark, you know, the Swedish pop band.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have registered their trademark. Why did they do that? Because they know and understand the value of what they've created, and they want to protect it. It makes sense. And so something that is really important, something that's really important to know and understand, you can actually take out an insurance policy for your trademark. Okay. I just learned this week.
So does that mean it's going to cost these big celebrities immediately? When you talk about trademarks, when you talk about these, you always think, oh, it is for academics, it is for people who have got lots and lots of money, who have got, it's for celebrities, they need to protect their brand. So how can a small business owner,
me as a celebrity? Do you see me as a celebrity?
You look like celebrity, Celeste. You are a celebrity.
But am I an actual celebrity?
No, you're not. That's where
I've got two trademarks. I've got two trademarks. I rest my case.
Okay, so what is what are this one is your trademark, and what is the next one? What's the other one?
The unique branded blueprint is a trademark as well. If you look at the bio text that I sent you, if you look at the text I sent you, you will see, and this is one of the questions you wanted to ask me about, that there is an R in the circle next to both GRAND IPR and to the unique branded blueprint. That means I've gone through the process and registered the trademark. People who use TM have misunderstood something along the lines, because TM doesn't give you any kind of protection at all. It sends a signal that you consider it to be yours, but you haven't done anything to register it yet.
No, it's also when you are in the process as well, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I was told when you use TM and you've registered, you've gone through the process, or you're going through the process of registering, because it takes a little bit of time, right? Once from the application, started the application to get all approved and all of that. So during that process, you can have TM in it.
You can. There is no protection though in that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So there isn't any point in doing it, because you're just saying, I consider this to be mine, but if it came to a dispute, I mean, of course, if you are in the process, that's different. But a lot of people just throw it up there without even knowing why they're doing it. And that's why I personally say, stay away from it, and then put the R on in the circle as soon as you've got. This banner was created before I registered it as a trademark. That's why you don't see it up here. In my book, you can see that there's a tiny little thing next to it, and that's the registration.
It's very grainy. Maybe you need to send me that photograph. I can put it, attach it. I don't know where I can attach. Maybe link to that. We can look at it. So what my next question is going to be, now you've differentiated between TM and R. So how long does the process take? I have an online course. I've got a digital product. Your book is a digital product for you, and it can be digital product, because if the digital copy will have that logo there as well.
I've got it as an ebook as well.
Yeah, ebook. That's what that will have a logo to attach to it. And again, there are plagiarism act and all of that as well, to take the text out of context. So my question, the next question is, how long does a process like this take to register an online course? I have got a system. I don't have trademark yet. So my system is awesome. I use a general font. I don't use any specialized font or anything, but the system is awesome. So how do I started the process ages ago, and I didn't finish the process. How long does the process take from start to end?
The process depends a little bit on where in the world you are and where you are wanting to go, because if you just want it in England alone, that is one process. If you're wanting to expand into Europe, that's another process. If you want to expand beyond Europe, then that's a third process. So it depends very much on what you're aiming at, where you're wanting to expand into.
Okay.
So if you are just wanting to have a UK trademark, you have a conversation with me and you pay my fee, and then you furnish me with all of the information that I need, provided that it's something that I believe I can register on your behalf, because I don't just take whatever you've got and throw it into the system to see if it sticks. You know, I have a 100% unbroken track record of all trademarks registered. So I don't just throw things into the machine. And when I've got all the relevant information, then I register it. I upload everything. I tick off all the right boxes, everything. And then I contact you again to say, look, I need you to furnish me with a payment, your card details, because the actual registration fee is not part of my fee, because I do not want to expose myself to money laundering. And then afterwards, there is a period that is called the opposition period. And the opposition period is 2 months. But depending on the workload, it may sort of be a little more than that. So it's about knowing. And if you don't hear anything from me, there's no need to panic, because it's a good sign. If you hear from me, it's a different matter.
Yeah. So I pay you whatever your fees is, and how long does that process take for you to verify everything and start applying for the trademark? You said the opposition period is 2 months, 2 to 6 months. I think 2 to 6 months. That's what was given.
No. 2 months is the opposition period. 2 months is the opposition period. Depending on the workload. What?
It won't go up to 6 months?
No, the opposition period. Opposition means that people can object to your trademark if there's something that is confusingly similar. They have a 2-month opposition period in which to fight you off.
Okay, so
but that's only 2 months. It does not change.
It doesn't go beyond that. Okay, so what happens?
But if the workload is heavy for them, it can take a bit longer before they get to your trademark. There are so many trademarks that are being submitted every single day. So of course there's a workload. So they may lag a bit behind. The important thing is to understand that the protection starts the minute you submit it.
Okay, your protection starts the minute I submit it. Okay, that makes sense. So the person who have said to me 2 to 6 months could be because they've got workload, they have not started the process. Once they've started the process, it will take 2 months. Okay, that makes sense.
No, the opposition period is 2 months. The opposition period.
Yeah, makes sense.
Very important to know. Very important to know. The opposition period is not the same as the whole period that it can take for it to be registered.
Yeah, I get that now. So how long will your work be with whatever the brand? I come to you and say, Celeste, I want you to work with me on getting this online course or my signature system. It's not an online course, it's a signature system, which I would create an online course, group session. I would create a book and whatnot with these, because that's how I coach from this. So if I come to you and say, hey Celeste, I want this trademarked, this name trademarked, how long will that be like for you to verify that, and whether it's a brandable, whether the name is right and all of that? And there won't be anyone who would be contesting that it's similar to theirs. So how does that work?
Depends on what kind of what level of support you want. If you want the unique branded blueprint, for instance, that is 2 days laser focused of my laser focused attention on you. And in that I acquire all the information that I need from you so that I can, and in that I perform the search for you. You don't need to do that yourself. And then also I ensure that with my legal knowledge, what you walk away with is registrable. And I also then, in that sort of investment, so to speak, you don't pay me on top of that to perform the registration, because that's included in the package.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you? So everything, so that's that program that I've got, the unique branded blueprint, right? And then if you just want me to register the trademark, that's a different situation. I have 3 different packages.
Okay.
And the level of support varies from the 3 of them. So it depends very much on what you want from me.
Okay, brilliant. Anyway, you've heard her. What are the options you have? Because I, as a coach, as I said, I help other coaches, consultants, and speakers to brand their signature system. I help them create those systems. So I wanted it. There is one option in mine is protection. That's one of the option. Securing, that's what one of the S stands for. It's securing your business. That's where this protection comes from, to be frank with, because my last step is exiting. So when you're trying to sell your business, when you're exiting, if you've got an IP protection, IP rights, you've insured your, as Celeste mentioned, you've insured your program or your method, it is easier for you to do either franchising or sell the whole business to someone. Your lists are protected, you're all protected. So that's where that's how it all links. If you know why is she interviewing Celeste, it's more of, I wanted you guys, small business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, you want to secure your legacy. This is your legacy. Even after you pass away, unless or otherwise you write it off, that's different. You pass away, your kids can benefit from that. It's similar to songs. Their successions can be benefited. It's similar to that one as well. So please,
can I interject something?
Yeah, Celeste, go for it. Yeah.
So the protection of copyright is your lifetime plus 70 years in the European
law.
Yeah, well,
corporate law.
Also here in the UK, not just in the European Union, but also here in the UK. However, a trademark can virtually exist indefinitely. That's also a very big difference. So as long as somebody's there to uphold the rights, I mean, remember BAS that I mentioned at the very beginning? It's still in use today as a trademark. And that is because there's somebody there to renew it. Because a trademark is protected for a certain period of time and then you can renew it. You cannot renew copyright in the same manner.
Okay. That makes sense. I was thinking both of them has got the 70. Okay, makes sense. So that is, let me get this clear again, maybe for others as well. So trademark is the lifetime. Even in the during the lifetime, you renew those trademarks, and after you pass away or after you cease to use that, and you've got 70 years follow that. Is that right?
No, that's the copyright. That's the copyright.
Okay.
That's the copyright. Copyright is when you've written something like music or poetry or a book or a training course or a training program or a training system or a training process. all of this is protected by copyright legislation. Even when you write code for a computer program, the code itself is protected by copyright legislation. That is your lifetime plus 70 years. Then you've got the trademark. The trademark you register in the European sort of economic area for a period of 10 years at a time, and then you renew. And as long as there's somebody who sees the value in your trademark, they can uphold it even when you've passed away. Does that make sense to you?
Repeat the last statement.
As long as there's somebody who sees the value in your trademark, they can renew and keep it alive. That's what's going on with BAS. The person who created it originally probably isn't here anymore, because it was in the 18 something. I can't remember exactly the precise year, but they are renewing it because they see the value of it. So they keep renewing it and renewing it and renewing it and renewing it. And there are different territories that give you 15 years. I think it's Canada that gives you a 15-year period rather than a 10-year period. And in America, you have to submit proof of use after 5 years.
Okay, so you cannot. So this, does that mean this trademark? You did say that. It's just my ignorance coming out now. With this question is, patent is different from trademark, right? So the same year doesn't apply to that patent. Once you get the patent, whether you use it or not, it is to you. Right? Unless or otherwise I sell it to you.
You can sell a patent, you can sell a trademark, you can sell copyrights. You can sell a lot of these things. You can also give a license. That's what most people do when they have a patent. They give a license for somebody else to produce whatever it is that they've taken out the patent for. And what they will often do is that they will strengthen their IP portfolio, as it's referred to, by a multitude of different intellectual property, you see. Because as I said, they go hand in hand. So once you've got like a medical, let me just finish for a second. Once you've got a medical patent, for instance, they will often also take out a trademark so that they can keep protecting, because the patent is only protected for, is it 20 years, I think? And after that, it goes into public domain.
Okay.
So a trademark helps them protect it
further than the patency. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I get, because I'm not an expert, I get confused. I hear all these things. So people, please
don't worry about that, because that's why people like me exist.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
please
I specialized in this, so you didn't have to.
Yes, that's true. It is really confusing when it comes the process in itself, because there are so many things. When I say that to my clients, that you can license your model so that other coaches can use your model and explain, they cannot get it in their head of how can they license their system. So that you need to be trademarked or patented, or whichever way you want to go for it, to get the license done. Brilliant. That was, oh my god, yeah, I can talk about this with you all time.
Just a sec.
Yeah,
let me just interject something here. A coach cannot get a patent for whatever it is they've created.
I know
that's incorrect. It has to be copyrights and trademarks together.
Yeah, for the intangible, tangible products. So for tangible products, you can get the patent. I'm sorry. Sorry to confuse you all.
It's fine.
Thank you, Celeste.
It's fine.
For keeping
I
me
just
right
wanted
there.
to make sure that your listeners get the correct information.
Yes, that's right. That shows I'm not an expert. So this is where you guys can speak to Celeste. I will be working with Celeste on this aspect of it. So that's why I wanted Celeste to come and give you all information. You don't have to work with Celeste. You can work with anyone who is specializes in. But Celeste, because I'm going to work with her. So I'm introducing her to you. So again, don't get confused that you've got to work with just this person. This is the person who would get. Go and speak to others as well. I spent quite a lot of money when I lost my code to someone else. I would have been very big now, but hey, that's life, eh? You live and learn. So we are going to shift back to personal. I wanted to ask, Celeste always has got her hat. So I wanted to know why she's got the hat and what is the story behind that. And after that, usual rapid fire, and then we will finish the session. So hang in there. Now, Celeste, why? What is
I
that
just love
hat?
hats. I've always loved hats. I've got like a variety. This is actually made out of paper.
Oh, interesting. My gran used to make quite a lot of stuff using paper as well. So I was thinking you would come up with an answer. You're a show jumper. You know, when you see when ladies go to these equestrian and polo matches and all of that, and they wear hats, the beautiful hats.
It's got nothing to do with that for me. It's just it's a personal thing. I just love hats. I always have.
Oh, brilliant. I love hats as well, but I've got a very small head. It comes to my eyes. So it doesn't good. You carry it really good on that one. So
Thank you.
going back to my usual signature rapid fire round, there'll be 3 questions. You've got to come up with the answer pretty quick. Is you can go ahead as well. There is no timer here. The first question is, are you a tea or a coffee person?
Neither. Hot chocolate.
Okay. Hot chocolate. Oh, I love hot chocolate. Oh,
hot chocolate and water.
You come from Sweden and Denmark, so it does make sense. And second question, 2:00 in the morning, your house is on fire, or your apartment, wherever you live, is on fire. What are the 3 things you would take and run out?
My cat. Probably a hat and some clothing.
Oh, good. You are a very practical person. I was not bothered about my clothing or anything. I was bothered about more my laptop and my iPad. That materialistic I am. But anyway, hey, that's makes me unique. And many people have said that as well, so it doesn't make me unique. And third question, are you a country girl or a city person?
Both. I prefer to live in the countryside, and I love visiting like Paris, Rome, Florence, London. You know, I can see the attraction of both. So I'm, you know, and people will always sometimes ask, are you Anglophile or Francophile?
What do I mean?
Anglophile, Francophile, and Italophile. I can't help it.
Yeah, all 3. That's good. That's good. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate that. And
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I've been looking forward to this episode for so long. Thank you, Celeste. For you lot, if Celeste has convinced you to get your program, signature program, or your online course, or your book, or anything which you've got as a solopreneur or entrepreneur, get her to at least speak to her to find out whether you both of you can work together, and get a consultation on with her. I will put all her details down below. Again, if you've not subscribed to my channel or followed my channel on Facebook, because this is broadcasted on 3 platforms: YouTube, Facebook, and also LinkedIn. So please do follow me. It will make sense. And comment below as well, because it is really important to safeguard your work, your life's worth, and also for your succession as well. So this is part of your succession planning. It could be part of succession planning, if I could get my succession right. So please, until speak to Celeste, until I meet you next in another episode. Thank you very much, and I be happy and be safe whatever you do. And I'll see you all in the next